Did you guys know I made a spin-off channel? Because I did, and you should totally come on over and check it out. You know, if you're interested, of course, because you might enjoy it. Who knows? Shameless plug, by the way. Either way, I hope you all had an amazing Christmas and amazing New Year. I genuinely hope that you're all safe. I hope that you got to spend the holidays with friends, with family, or your favorite your favorite MMOs and their respective communities doing what we do best. Kicking names and taking... Wait, okay. So admittedly, I am recording this it is a little after midnight right now, and I'm kind of tired, but you know what? I am dedicated, and someone has to bring you guys the latest news in the entire MMO scene, right? Before we jump into today's video though, I would like to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, 33rd Random Defense, an action RPG tower defense game. Are you a fan of tower defense games? Because I am. They're easily accessible titles that provide me something fun to do when I'm sitting around bored, like at the airport waiting for my plane, or when I'm sitting in the car waiting to pick up some PF Changs. They're easy to boot up, and they allow for a lot of strategic freedom and customization, and this game is no different. 33rd Random Defense is a unique spin on the genre that originated from StarCraft's used map settings, offering players a constantly evolving experience. You'll encounter various waves of monsters deployed completely randomly, with monsters wielding various types of weapons like pistols or rifles or slingshots and more. There are also multiple different game modes like single player or co-op and PvP duels for those of you that want to test your skills in real time against other players. An anniversary event is currently ongoing with limited edition Christmas skins available for purchase, along with the addition of a brand new game mode. So if this looks like, or if this sounds like something even remotely appealing to you, I would urge you to go ahead and check this out by clicking that link in the description or the pinned comment below. Now, with all of this out of the way, we have quite the news video ready for all of you, so let's go ahead and jump in, shall we? Merging servers is a sign that those specific servers no longer have the active player base to warrant remaining online. So when you go about merging as many servers as ELYON has done, down to 2 total, one for all of Europe and one for all of North America, it's a sure sign that there is trouble in paradise. I know the remainder of players are going to complain about this statement, but unfortunately it is true. When your MMO is struggling to maintain 1,000 concurrent active players across a handful of different servers, your game is on death's bed. And given the game's free for everyone to play, yeah, I would probably give ELYON a few more months and they will be under Swords of Legends Online's active concurrent players. And solo is already considered by many to have one of the lowest concurrent populations of any MMO released in the last several years. Now, I know there are still plenty of you interested in Ashes of Creation, even though it's not realistically releasing until sometime in 2025, maybe 2024 if we're lucky. Nevertheless, the dev team did announce something that players are both oohing and simultaneously booing, and that is that Ashes of Creation is upgrading their graphics engine to Unreal Engine 5. This will likely make for an overall better gaming experience for players, thus the oohing, but at the same time will also potentially delay the game further, thus the booing. Because the game is already years off of being in a playable state as it is, and this is only going to prolong that. Nevertheless, I do hope that they get it done as quickly as possible with as little quality sacrificed, as the last thing that we need, realistically, is another dud of an MMO. Lost Ark launches next month, and players are ecstatic that they will finally be able to play it after what seems like years of waiting. Wait, we have confirmation from players. Apparently, it has actually been years waiting. My bad. Now, jokes aside, Smilegate announced recently that the Korean version of Lost Ark has seen more players playing in the last month than any point in its entire history being online. Specifically, the total number of daily players has more than doubled. The total number of monthly players has more than doubled, and the game has recorded 230,000 concurrent players. 230,000 concurrent, that means logged in at the same time. Not total logged in over the course of the entire day. There have been just so many players logging in concurrently that there are now queues in place preventing players from playing, just like Denwalker does. 4,000 players every night on Gilgamesh. Yeah. Now, Smilegator are taking this opportunity to monopolize on its current success, going on to announce they have a lot of content planned for the future, new classes, new events, and so much more. So, a while ago, I played Fractured Online. It genuinely looked like a relatively fun new MMO. It wasn't going to innovate, it wasn't going to break the genre by any means, but I have no doubt in my mind that it would have found its niche of players. However, as of December 2021, it was announced that Gamigo, yeah, the very same company responsible for scamming tens of thousands of players or more with Arcade Unchained for being known publicly as the MMO Graveyard, would be in charge of publishing the MMO worldwide. And in an instant, any potential Fractured Online would have had as a worthwhile MMO got thrown out the window. Gamigo is a company that should be boycotted due to their sheer love of ruining games in the MMO genre. Speaking of MMOs being acquired by other companies, it turns out that Mortal Online 2, the sequel to the, well, honestly, who has even played Mortal Online 1? Like, who even knew there was a Mortal Online 1? Exactly. Regardless, Mortal Online 2 has obtained an Epic Games Mega Grant, which, according to the developers, is a substantial grant from Epic that will support the game in terms of development through its next series of phases, including, much like Ashes of Creation, a complete overhaul of its graphical engine to Unreal Engine 5. It is unconfirmed whether this means that the game is also going to be launching via the Epic Games Store, but one would assume so. Sega just released their roadmap for 2022 with regards to PSO2 New Genesis. In February, they'll be raising the level cap to 40. There will be new high-rank sectors in the ELYON region, new side story for Chapter 2. March will feature a spring event. April will raise the level cap to 45, add new high-rank sectors to the Retam region, new urgent quests. May will see new photon arts and techniques in a limited time urgent quest. June will see the introduction of another brand new region. Chapter 3 of the game's story raises the level cap to 60. Yeah, unlike previous increases of 5, this is a 15 level increase, new class skills, and significantly more over the latter half of the year. This comes fresh off of the release of their latest region, class, and content. Honestly, in another year or two, I think personally that PSO2 New Genesis will probably have shaped up to be quite the quality anime MMO. Until then, though, well, we're still waiting on enough content to actually consume to keep us actively playing. I know there are some Bless Unleashed players out there. As I've noted repeatedly, I never wanted Bless Unleashed to shut down, because it's one less MMO that we get to discuss, and less games overall means less content that I get to push out for the channel. Nevertheless, it turns out that after a mere few months, NeoWiz and Round 8 Studios are giving up on the game and selling all rights to the PC iteration to Valofe. Yeah, Valofe, the very same people that Nexon gave publishing rights of Riders of Icarus to. And you know all those promises that they made about the future of the game? Yeah, they're beholden to none of those now. Neither is Valofe, since it's completely separate company. NeoWiz has once more shown their utter disregard for players and proven for the 4th time, I believe, maybe the 5th time at this juncture, that at the end of the day, all they care about is money. And they are willing to repeatedly tarnish not only their reputation, but also the reputation of the entire intellectual property to maximize that return on their investment. Get ready for Bless Released Second Coming sometime in the future, guys. It is coming. Toram Online is a mobile MMO that was recently ported on over to PC, and the reception has actually been fairly good. I've been asked repeatedly to cover the game, and honestly, I really need to, especially given that I've been rather fond of the majority of Asubimo titles that I have played in the past. This, I guess, is just more motivation for me to go ahead and download and stream the game, I guess, if you guys want to come on over and join me. Now, I really want to, but I'm not going to go into really much detail here, as I think it's worth checking Black Desert's official blog post regarding this if you're curious. But just before Christmas, Pearl Abyss rolled out a massive patch that rebooted every single class in the game. So if you haven't played in the last 2 weeks, then you should either read up on the changes specifically pertaining to whatever classes you're interested in via the blog post, or I guess just log in and take a look for yourself. I've been covering Temtem repeatedly since it launched. MRSSSTIX and I played the game during its alpha, we proceeded to play the game during its beta, then we played fully when it launched into early access, and we have been waiting on the final islands to release before heading back into it. Thankfully, that has since happened with the introduction of not only the game's final zone, Arbery Island, the conclusion to the main story, but also enough Temtem to bring the entire roster up to 165 in total. The devs went on to confirm that this is far from the last update for the game, with additional content coming in the future, new features, and additional gameplay loops that they hope will give the MMO long-lasting life. I know there are going to be ardent defenders of this game. There are going to be people that actually hate this statement, not opinion, this statement being made, but Swords of Legends Online has hit new lows of 100 people playing at a given time, with peaks of only 600 via Steam. With the addition of players playing via Gameforge's launcher, it really doesn't equate to really all that much more. When do you guys think Gameforge are going to announce the game's closure? Noah's Heart just held its first closed beta test, and while there were plenty of bugs that prevented players from successfully playing the game, heck, there was even this one bug, and I'm laughing here when I really shouldn't be, but there was this one bug in specific that actually halted players' download progress at 99%, locking a large percentage of the player base out of the game. Yet even though that was the case, it was still it was still relatively well received. The game doesn't look bad. There's a lot of room for improvement, granted, both in terms of visual prowess and gameplay itself. If this is a kind of game that we get at launch, I feared that it is not going to go over very well. However, they have plenty of time to remedy this, to make it at least as beautiful as Dragon Raja, hopefully even more so than Dragon Raja. As for the game itself though, I hate to admit it, but it really did seem like it catered more to a mobile audience than a PC audience, unfortunately, but I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see how that ultimately evolves going into the future. And this is arguably the worst part of the entire video, because I have been anticipating Tower of Fantasy for, I think, what, like going on 2 years now, maybe more, I guess, with the only MMO I am actually genuinely more excited for being Blue Protocol. So to hear Hada Studio shut down any chance right now of a global release was absolutely heartbreaking. Yeah, they went on to state that they now have absolutely no plans for a release outside of China, as the game, at least in its current form, is so riddled with bugs and honestly barely even worth playing in its current state. This amongst reports of plagiarism, stealing the work of other games, and just so much more that I do plan on covering in a dedicated video, hopefully next week, has left a very sour taste in my mouth regardless. I mean, I would still probably try it out if they did release the game globally, but I don't know. So there was a very popular thread over on the Blue Protocol subreddit recently that went on to speculate the reason why we haven't heard anything from Bamco or the Blue Protocol team is due to the fact that the game is migrating to Unreal Engine 5, and honestly, I doubt that. They have given absolutely no indication of any type of graphical overhaul other than the addition of cosmetic items like new brows, new eye colors, hairstyles, and outfits. No mention of anything as large as an Unreal Engine 5 upgrade. I know that we're trying so desperately to justify their lack of communication, but I genuinely doubt that is it. Just to clear things up for the thousands of people that have viewed that thread over the last 7 days. And that is it. That is everything relating to the MMORPG genre that mattered to me over the course of the last month. It was a month packed with news, both good and bad. If you think that there is anything that I missed covering that you feel should be included, let me know and I will either do a dedicated video on it or I will include it in next month's monthly bite of MMORPG news.